In this video, we're going to teach you everything you need to know to install dirt bike graphics with no bubbles. We're going to do a step-by-step process, and it can be a little intimidating if you haven't put on graphics before, but once you get it done the first time, you do it a few times, it becomes easy and quite meditative actually. So let's get right into it.
We're gonna give you guys a chance to win $100. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is like, subscribe, and comment on this video. How's your experience been with graphics? Do you like putting them on? Do you hate putting them on? Let us know the feedback. You get a chance to win $100. Make sure you stick around. We're gonna announce the last $100 winner at the end of this video.
All right, we need to figure out what tools we need for the job. You can't do any job without the tools. So first things first, you're gonna need something to take off the plastics, take off the seat if you need to. You're gonna need some heat. I don't necessarily suggest a blowtorch. I'm gonna be really careful. A hairdryer will do. You're gonna need an applicator, something to lay the graphics down, squeegee the bubbles out. You'll need a towel, and you'll need some cleaner to make sure things are really clean. It's a pretty simple job. You don't need a lot of tools. Let's get right to it. All right, so now we're moving on to actually taking these graphics off. A couple things you want to think about when you're peeling the graphics off is there could be a little residue, a little dirt that's stuck to the bike because there's sticky stuff in there and the dirt got in there. So you just want to make sure that you clean everything really good after you get it off. But there's no real science to taking the graphics off, just rip them off. I will say that 9 times out of 10, if the graphics are a little warmer, there's less sticky stuff that comes off. And you guys don't understand what I mean by sticky stuff. It can be a nightmare. So let's get all these graphics off. We should prank Jake and put all my graphics on his bike. Let's go do it. Let's turn Jake's bike into the MX Factory Kawasaki. What I will say about these guys is they have a tremendous amount of knowledge. Their cuts are really nice on all their graphics. They line up really well. And they're all riders, so it kind of helps. I'm actually putting these on one of the employees' bikes. And so he's got a really good eye for design. He's a rider himself. And as far as the wraps and all this stuff go for the cars, they really do a good job. You know, you got some graphic companies where you can just tell the people that are working there don't ride. And so the stuff just doesn't look like it flows well with the sport. And that's a thing. Like, you can't make things look motocross if you don't know motocross. Same thing goes for the side-by-side racing. They do it all. So really good company for making stuff look factory. And sometimes you got to trust the process. Jake's really going to appreciate me doing his graphics for him. Is he still here? These graphics have never been this slow in their lives. It's a joke. He knows I'm just joshing him. All right, so now that we've got the seat off, I want you guys to come in and look at a couple things here. The graphics are gonna lay down on this top piece here, and you can see that if there's any dirt there, they're gonna start to peel from there, and then your body rubbing back and forth on the bike is eventually gonna peel them off. Another thing here is dirt got underneath, so you can just pull your plastics out, clean the fender to make sure that all lays down really nicely, and then put it back in. So that's what we're gonna go ahead and do, is get all these plastics nice and clean, then we're gonna start laying them down. Knock the dust off first. Some dirt on. Wipe it off, it's all good. So before we put the bolts back in here, I'm actually gonna go ahead and do the back fender because the graphics are gonna lay down in this little crevasse here. And you want to make sure that your things aren't stuck on there and you're trying to, again, stuff stuff in there that you don't want to be stuffing in there, if you know what I'm saying. So a couple things you guys want to think about when you're laying the graphics is you want to find the middle line, and you want to line the tip with the middle, and then you need your straight lines to align with the straight lines of the sides of the plastics. So we're going to start here at the bottom, and we're going to try to get the middle of that right dead in the center. All right. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of eyeball it there. And you don't be afraid to just peel them back and start over. I'm just going to hold it there, because there we go. And then you want to find the middle up here. Then once you've established you've got the same amount of room and gap on both sides, you can lay a nice little slide down the middle, maybe even lift this, and then replace it, okay? And on stuff that has big crevices like this, you want to work from the top, and then you want to work through that crevice. You don't want to stick this part down and then try to get that out. It's gonna make there's a big bubble in there. So we're gonna grab our applicator, our squeegee, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna peel this out. I'm gonna hold this, and then I'm just gonna lay this thing down. Get it all the way through. You can see now why I lifted this off. Would have been impossible to get this piece to lay down in there if we were having that bolt in already. So, what I'm going to do, since I have this bubble, is I'm just going to work it out right there, and then I'm going to get this down in the middle, and then work this at the same time. And again, you're just gonna go to the edge. Just start in the middle, go out to the edges, and every piece of plastic may require a little bit different finesse. And then we'll hit it with a little heat to make it set a little bit. You wanna be real far away when you got this much heat. I'm just gonna heat these things up a little bit. Get a little heat on this side. You can see that I have some bubbles that I need to work out here. Ooh, got my finger. My finger. So we're getting into a little more tricky situation. On the pipe side, it's always a little harder because you've got this big angle here, this big kind of roll. And so what I do is I just start from the top and the bottom, and on things where you have what I call lineup points, you want to make sure that you use those to your advantage. So again, we're going to find the holes on both sides, and then we're going to line the straight line. So we've got 3 points to line up perfectly, and then we're going to find a straight line on the top and bottom to make sure that the height. But usually the holes are a really good indicator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the edge of that hole, and then I'm going to make sure that this is on a straight line, and I'm just going to lightly lay it, and I'm going to come up here and make sure this hole is lined up, and I'll just push it down to make sure I'm in a good spot. And what you'll see is everything's kind of lined up. All the straight lines are at good angles, straight line, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of push it from the middle, and before I grab my applicator, I'm going to lift here and make sure that this stays down like this. And then I'm going to get the heat, and I'm going to start working this thing from the middle out. And when it starts to crinkle up like this, you just want to lift, get that kind of puts the graphics in a bind, get that kind of bind relaxed, and then lightly push it down. And again, heat really helps. Pretty satisfied with this one. It's got those 2 little bubbles that, again, you can also use just something that's really pointy, or a razor blade or a knife. You can poke a little hole in there and then work the air out of it. Find holes, find some straight lines, and even a corner helps quite a bit so you can get the depth on both ways. So I'm going to get that circle lined up. I'm going to get it perfectly in that corner. A lot of this is just visual, making sure that you're lined up, and then come down here and get this piece to line up here. All right, and then we're going to take this and then lay it down lightly here. Again, you don't want to press super hard on anything until you know if you got your angles dialed in. See that? You guys see that? Uh-oh, we got a little situation here. But graphic guys knows where to split them. Look at that, man.
Check it out, mate.
Beautiful. If you're a beginner, these are a really good place to start. Right here. You just put him up your leg like this, and all of a sudden he's fast. He was ugly, now he's fast and ugly. These are a little long, but I like them that way. All right, moving on to the front fender here. Could be a pretty easy piece if you could get it to not stick to itself. This one's a little tricky because these front fenders are all groovy, baby. You know what I mean? And so, it's the same thing though. I'm gonna start here in the middle because we got a nice little point to line up. All right, and I'm just gonna get snugged up to that point. Hold it down lightly. Take these apart for the 14th time. Flip them around. And then line up my point down here. Right there in the middle. You know why this is taking so much longer? Because these are way harder graphics to put on than KTM. This one's gonna need a little heat, yeah. They all need a little heat. It helps the sticky stick. All right, front number plate's pretty self-explanatory. You wanna line up your edges. I got both tops and the bottom's pretty solid, and I'm gonna draw the line down the middle, and I'm gonna work out from there. I have endoed this bike, so the front number plate's kinda messed up, and you'll see that unfortunately in the graphics up here up top. It's gonna look like bubbles, but it's not. It is not a bubble. It's called an endo mark. That's what happens when you think that you can axle Hodges, but you can actually only Dylan Kirchner. Hey guys, this is Tyler with the MX Factory, and I just want to give a quick shout out to Graphic Guys. They are a sponsor of this video, and if you would like to support us, make sure you take the time to support them. If you want graphics for your dirt bike, if you want wall graphics, if you want wraps on your cars, anything they can do, signs, you name it, anything they can do, and if you call them, tell them the MX Factory sent you, they're gonna hook you up. So make sure you support us by supporting graphicguys.com. We're gonna see if you can do them, Carson. Go ahead. These are the two most simple things. They're kind of like sticking the stars on the board when you're in elementary school.
Okay.
Yep, there's one. Make sure your hands are clean.
Where do I put them?
You gotta figure that out.
Where?
Well, that's never gonna stick again with that freaking greasy forehead.
Maybe I should have watched this video before applying this graphic. Line them corners up. Just gotta kind of jab them in. Dude, imagine if I was actually like doing this whole kit. This would never. This wouldn't have. It's just no.
Congratulations, Testaclum! You won $100 this week from our $100 giveaway. All you have to do is send us an email at info@themxfactory.com and we'll get you your money. You're one step closer to buying that new bike. Thanks for leaving the comment. Big shout out to Graphic Guys for sponsoring this video. If you guys are into these graphics, you want some dirt bike graphics for your own bike, make sure you hit them up. If you're in the Central Texas area, come by, give them a high five. They're at the races, I'm sure you'll see them. Make sure you support the people that support us. That's how we keep this channel growing and flowing. To see you guys soon.